Yeah, Lisa asked the question. I was like,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, about the 13th of March.
So when we
13th of
come in
March.
for it, we decided to switch it up a land use warrant.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Flag salute, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, April 28th, 2026 meeting. This meeting was advertised in the Press of Atlantic City and the Hamilton Gazette, and notice was posted on the bulletin board at Egg Harbor City Municipal. I would ask Donna to put that into the minutes, please. Roll call, Donna?
Mr. Walker?
Here.
Mr. McKenna?
Here.
Mr. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Molyneux?
Here.
Mr. Frick?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Did we get everybody?
All right, approval of the minutes for March 17th. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, moving on. No resolutions tonight. New business, application 2026-01 DMB White Horse Pike LLC. Want to step forward and be sworn in, please?
Schaefer, you want to raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Always yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Chris Balance, and I represent LUB DMB LLC with respect to its application this evening to the planning board here seeking a use variance for a use that's not permitted, as well as two uses on one site. There's an existing use on the site. The site's identified as 6 White Horse Pike. It's block 526, lot 11.01. It's in the highway commercial zone. And the use that is proposed, which is a highway contractor's storage of vehicles inside and equipment to the exterior of the existing building. On the site, I'm sure everybody's familiar with it, on the site is an existing retail type of use, which has been there, from what I understand, for quite some time. Otherwise, the property has sat vacant for a while. It was previously a used car dealership and with repairs also. A use that's proposed is similar, which, like I said, is a highway contractor that has highway directional equipment, which they'll store there in the evening, as well as vehicles inside. Because of the other use that's on the property, and this use, as I said, it's a D variance with respect to the two uses, and a D variance with respect to the use. I know Ryan had suggested it's maybe an aggravation of a current D variance. I think it's just two variances. It's a use variance and a two-use variance. Andy Schaefer is the engineer who prepared the plan to speak with respect to the use variance, rather than me saying everything once and then having to say it again all those meetings. Thank you very much for having a special meeting. There is a tenant proposed who is ready to go, and so we appreciate you guys giving the time.
Right, so the property is located at block 5107, lot 1.01, 3034 White Horse Pike, and it's in the highway commercial zone. It's an existing building. I'm sorry, the shaded area is deceiving. That's the asphalt that we're doing and the gravel area in the back that we're proposing. So there's an existing 2,430 square foot plus or minus building that's existing, has asphalt on both sides in the White Horse Pike. Currently vacant, and a little bit looking dilapidated. So they've already started, a little ahead of the gun, but they've already started. They've resided the building, they're resurfacing the parking lot, and they're redistributing gravel in the back where there's a gravel space that the applicant's going to talk about later on as to what it was there and what is going to be there. And so there's no expansion of existing or proposed gravel or impervious spaces. So we are asking for a D1 variance to allow the contractor storage and commercial vehicle outdoor storage. So we are asking for 8 vehicles to be stored outside. Essentially, it turns into about 16 trips a day. They come in and come out in the daytime. It's a traffic control type of business where they put these days, none of the contractors do it themselves. They hire a traffic control. The traffic plan is a good example of the name of the company, but that's not this company.
So when there's a highway project or a roadway project, particularly on state highways or county roads, these guys set up and do the directional work for the contractor doing the actual road work.
That's correct. So it's done a little differently than it was 15 years ago, whereas the contractor did all that stuff themselves. So some of the permitted uses include a cannabis retail, institutional uses, bowling alley, bank, general business, retail, and services. Everything almost, except for storage outside vehicles, which is what we're asking for, and storage inside the building, not occupied by employees, but cones, signs, that sort of thing. So they're going to have an office inside, I will be honest with that, but they're not planning on manning that office. So it's basically 0 employees during the day, it's 8 vehicles out, and then 8 vehicles in the afternoon.
That's morning and night. You drop the pick the vehicle up, bring it back at
Right.
night.
So that means it's a relatively minimal use as compared to some of the other things that are permitted in the zone. So it's not going to create a lot of traffic, it's not going to create a lot of nuisance, it's going to create an upgrade to what we see visually in terms of the paving being redone and the facade, which I found out tonight is already done.
Now, Andy, the application mentioned a site plan waiver. We're not asking for a site plan waiver indefinitely. What we'd like to do is obviously get the tenant in there, let him operate, come back before this board for a site plan with the site improvements that are proposed for the use.
With an arguable agreement, yes. Meaning that they aren't improving anything that's not already there, but in the sense of just being upfront, we're willing to come back within 6 months with a site plan approval for what we believe is already there. In other words, a gravel space in the back. Does it have weeds and so forth growing through it? Well, it did a few days ago. Now it doesn't, but it was already there. The asphalt space in front, is it already there? Yes. It was in need of rehabilitation? Yes, that's being done. Was the building already there? Yes, it was already there. Was it in need of rehabilitation? Yes, and that's already being done.
And so, for site plan approval will obviously help Egg Harbor City going forward with respect to how site circulation is going to work, what the improvements are going to be, so we know what enforcement mechanisms can take place, standard site plan improvements and checklist items that you find from the ordinance.
Yes, so now coming to the variance, whether the proposed use will promote the general welfare, or whether the development of the property is particularly suited for the proposed existing building can accommodate if the proposed use as it's currently configured, in other words, it's not being modified to be configured to accommodate the use because it already is there, and this will meet the goals of the master plan revitalization of the area, which this has been the subject of redevelopment several times before. So
With a variety of uses that aren't in the ordinance now, but that were proposed, although those redevelopment plans never came to fruition.
that's correct. So if we were to propose the special reasons under 40:55D2-A, first of all,
Positive criteria, which.
positive criteria, to encourage the municipal action to guide the appropriate use of development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public health, safety, welfare of everybody, that's hard to say. This site is particularly well suited due to its proximity to an arterial street and not being near residential. Under item E in the same citation, to promote the establishment of appropriate population densities and concentrations that will contribute to the well-being of persons, neighborhoods, communities, regions, and preservation of the environment. The proposed use is consistent with the surrounding uses, mostly that it's not near residential and it's not a high traffic impact type thing we're trying to add to the area. And last, I'll rub it in, G, to provide sufficient space and appropriate locations for a variety of agricultural, residential, recreational, commercial, and industrial uses, and open space, both public and private, according to the respective environmental requirements in order to meet the needs of New Jersey. This site is, again, particularly well suited due to its being surrounded by non-residential uses and access, particularly well access, to transportation infrastructure. And last, to promote the desirable visual environment under item I, the site is being paved and re-sided. So the site is already, before we came here, looking much better than it did before.
And with respect to the negative criteria, whether the variance can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good or without substantially impairing the intended purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinance.
Stolen with Emery, yes.
And why do you say that?
Because we are not adding a high impact traffic to what is already a fairly well trafficked area. And there is no detriments of any consequence that I can see zoning wise or impact in terms of development and operation of the site compared to what could be there that we already talked about in terms of permitted uses.
What about particular suitability with respect to the property? And don't forget, there's another use on it. Do you think the site can accommodate what is proposed along with the retail personal service use that's on
So
there
the
now?
personal service use that is already there operating out of a former house is a massage parlor, basically, and the traffic impact of that is minimal and has been associated with the site for a number of years.
And therefore, you think the site, in light of the fact it's also been a prior used car lot and repair facility, can accommodate what's proposed with this application?
Yes, to a lesser impact to what was originally improved to be as a car dealership, repair service, as well as the massage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schaefer. Mark?
Before you leave, Mr. Schaefer, I know you've probably appeared before this board too many times I count, but just for the record, you're a licensed professional engineer and planner in the state
Yeah,
of
I
New
got
Jersey.
my license 8 days ago.
Okay. And your testimony has been previously accepted by this board as an
It has.
expert? Okay, thank you.
Mark? Mark, you'll need to be sworn.
Yep.
And I want you to introduce yourself to the board and tell the board what your role is in the project.
Absolutely. Swear.
And use the microphone.
Yep. Swear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sir, do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, your name for the record?
Mark Haddon.
I'm sorry, could you spell your last name?
Yes, Hadnett.
Hadnett.
Hadnett, yeah.
Mark, you're a principal in the applicant limited liability company,
Yes,
and you and your company do development work in the South Jersey area,
yes,
among other places.
yeah,
And you acquired this site, am I right?
yes,
And you've acquired a tenant for the site as well, true?
yes, we have.
Explain to the board who that tenant is and their timeline with respect to getting you going,
Yeah,
operating from the site.
Looking to get going yesterday, basically, but Northwest Traffic Control is the company. They're a subsidiary of JF Riley, rather large traffic. They do safety equipment for a lot of the highway work when they're redoing roads or they're redoing the parkway or whatever they're doing. They do a lot of the safety work for that.
And assuming that this board allows Riley or Northwest to begin operating from the site tomorrow or the next day, whatever it may be, you would commit to come back before this board with respect to a site plan, a major site plan approval, and address whatever conditions or whatever items Ryan and the board come up with tonight or going forward with respect to that site plan?
Yes, we would. Yeah.
And what kind of time do you think you would need in order to have Andy prepare the site plan? Property has to be surveyed, site plan has to be prepared, and Andy's put in 6 months, approximately 6 months. Does that sound, at a minimum, what would be needed to come back for the board with the full site plan?
I would say that would be fair.
Okay. With respect to temporarily, you will install site lighting for purposes of security,
Yes.
and have you done that, or are you doing that? Site lighting,
Yes, there's site lighting on site, and it's turned on current.
and is sufficient light in the evening for security purposes?
Yes.
For whatever equipment may be stored there, or vehicles?
Yeah. For,
Your hours of operation will be daytime hours, vehicles picked up in the morning, dropped off in the evening. There won't be a situation where there are 3 shifts running 24 hours and stuff's getting dropped off all night throughout the evening.
to the best of my knowledge, it's daytime operation, yeah.
You never have a drop off or anything, 2 o'clock in the morning if they're starting a job somewhere?
So, they haven't been there, I'm not aware of that. Yeah.
You're gonna have to be sworn
Gotta
if
be
you have
sworn.
additional testimony.
Be sworn in, sir.
What they told you is that it's pick up in the morning,
Pick up morning,
drop off
drop
in the
off in
evening.
the evening, correct.
They haven't, nobody's explained anything to you with respect to, and if so, we would
We would have
come
to
back
clarify
at site plan time and let you know that. But right now, what these guys have been told, without having that gentleman sworn in, is it's drop off, pick up in the morning, drop off in the evening, not a 2 or 3 shift a day situation where you're gonna have middle of the night drop-offs or pickups.
To the best of our knowledge, it's morning and drop off the evening. But if that does change, like Chris said, we'll put that in with the application.
And that's, that we'd have to come back and have that, the variance that we're here tonight for, to be modified and present those proofs at that time to accommodate that.
Right.
You understand? And
Yes.
you'll tell the entity that between now and then, that can't happen.
Right,
Between now and when we come back for site plan, that can't happen. If they have any intention of doing that, we've got to deal with that when we come back for site plan.
right. Yeah.
What are your intentions with respect to the site in the short term, like right now? I understand there's some maintenance that needs to be done with the stone area in the back and some asphalt in the front.
Yeah, so with respect to the site itself, well, the building itself, we have permitted with the city for the repairs that were done on that. So we have to do, the property was completely dilapidated, falling apart, so we have to do extensive repairs on that, and a lot of money is dumped into it.
On the building.
On the building itself. And then with regard to the front asphalt, that was all ripped up, it was just potholes, craters, it was just derelict for multiple years, and same with the back.
You've redone that or have never redone?
We're in the process currently of having that redone, because
Before
it was in such disrepair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a concern with the stones in the back and the weeds that proliferate through those stones. They're gonna be kept weed-free as best as possible?
Yes, so it was 30 foot high when we first got the property, it was extremely just not looked after. We dealt with a lot of stuff, even DEP stuff, all the rest. But yeah, so it's been cleared and it's been re-gravelled in the back area, and that's currently in the process also.
And that'll be
Cleaning that up,
It'll be maintained that way?
and it'll be maintained that way.
And the environmental situation, tell us what happened there.
So there was, from the previous operation, there was a mechanic, and a used car dealership, to the best of my knowledge from before. I guess they were just disposing of.
Tell these guys. I
Yeah,
know.
sorry. Apologies. They were disposing of oil, drums of oil, and not disposing of it correctly. They were just leaving it kind of in barrels and all the rest, so we had a full DEP report on the property. We worked hand in hand with an LSRP, state
Licensed
license.
site.
Yeah, and, they're environmentally certified, they're the only ones that can handle stuff like that, so, yeah, we were dealing hand in hand with them.
And the LSRP has given you what's equivalent of
A
a
certificate of, yeah,
DEP,
of the clearance of the property is now cleared of any contamination. So previously it was kind of contaminated, we cleared that up, and that is now cleared.
that's great. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You're saying there's no employees that'll be there at the,
Yeah, so
At the
it's not
business.
an office, it's more of a drop-off location, so they'll drive, pick up the truck.
that's
and
what
whatever
I'm getting
signage
at.
they'll
Where
need.
do they park when they drop off their vehicle to get into the truck?
They'll probably park in the front, I would imagine, or just swap out for whatever they're taking.
Typically happens
if
where they
they're
swap
swapping
out the space they pull out part way, and they pull their car in, and then at night it gets reversed. So they'll be parking back here also.
And how many
And
trucks are
again,
they
this is like
estimating?
oversized imagery.
8.
This is oversized in terms of it's probably like Probably like 100 back there. 100.
And Mark, let's
Yeah.
clarify.
Yeah.
You'll have them swap out the space.
We'll have them swap out
Rather than
cars.
park in the front or on
Yeah.
the highway, you'll have them put their car in the space where they take the truck from.
Yes, yeah.
And how many trucks did you say that'll fit?
Total of 8.
What kind of trucks are they?
Well, They're gonna be a variety of trucks, but some of them have the big, zebra stripe thing in the
Yeah,
back.
attenuators, yep.
Thank you, those things. That's basically the kind of truck.
Then the arrows on the back, the gray
Mhm.
ones that are directed,
Mhm.
yeah, that style.
All right, so you're just swapping out then?
Correct.
I noticed in the front, you have parking on the corner there, is that gonna be asphalted?
For here,
On the corner of Hamburg?
on this side,
Yeah, it looks like that's gonna be all asphalt.
that's existing, we haven't asphalted that.
So,
The front of the garage was in the most disrepair.
Right.
Yeah.
so they won't be permitted to park vehicles there throughout the
That's
day?
part of the massage parlor next door.
Oh, that's the parking for the
there.
massage parlor, okay.
Yeah, over to this side is that's basically their space.
Were you looking to do any upgrades to the building for the massage parlor? I drove past it today and it's looking a little rough. Looks like the shutters are down and needs painting.
Yeah, we will eventually, the focus was kind of getting this under control because it was in that bad a disrepair, but eventually it is on the plan.
And that's your building, that's your tenant as well?
That is, yeah.
So if the city needs to deal with that building, they come to you?
Yes, yeah.
So you're not using any of the massage parlor parking for your business?
No. Yep.
I had one other question in
Yeah.
regards to the fence. Are you gonna install new fence around that facility down the side? That old fence is all grown in, all those
So-
trees, and then fence off the front where the trucks are gonna be going in?
So the fence on the front, it was taken down temporarily because they were redoing the gravel and the asphalt. There was a fence that was dilapidated, we have to put that in again.
You put a new fence in there?
A new fence in, the same line it was existing on, it would go back in. But it was basically falling apart because it was rotted. It was an
Right,
eyesore.
and now your side fence that's parallel with Hamburg, is that gonna be replaced?
That'll be replaced as well.
Because that's pretty bad shape.
Disrepair
It's
as
all
well, yeah.
in trees and whatever for security purposes for the trucks or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Will that be done by the time we come back for site plan approval?
it will, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Jack, you got something?
Yeah, so it's a little unusual, and I don't know if it's protocol or if it's allowed or whatever, but to have to be asking for a variance before the site plan. You know, we're raising questions now about parking and how many trucks and all that, which are details that would be called out on a site plan. And you're testifying that you're going to come back for a site plan, but how do we hold you to that? And if you do come back for a site plan and for some reason you need a Pineland certificate of filing, I don't know how you would proceed with the site plan. We're out of sequence here.
I could suggest with respect, and only if you're done, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yes,
It's a change of use for the Pinelands, and I don't believe a new application is necessary. Andy was gonna confirm that.
So,
And you're right with respect to the order of things, this is not typical. We're asking for relief that we wouldn't come in here and ask for ordinarily. But I would suggest to you, if there's anything that you want to see done, whether it's site plan or not, the use variance, the conditions imposed on a use variance can be more stringent, in fact, than a site plan. So if there's something you want to see that is done or isn't done between now and then, we're bound by it. With respect to the grant of use variance.
okay, but, you know, this is what was submitted to us. It's a survey, I don't know when it was done, but it's probably pretty accurate, but, you know, you've got trucks drawn in there. We usually have, you know, a site plan that spells out all the things and that are supposed to be in there, and then add whatever conditions the board may or may not have at the time. Can we impose conditions on a variance?
Absolutely, absolutely. And whatever we said tonight in terms of the 8 trucks the daytime only, drop off and pick up, those all are part of the record and are conditions of this approval, whatever we said tonight, we're stuck with.
So if your site plan doesn't pass, you shut it down? Is that what
So
you're
if
saying?
site plan doesn't pass, we can't stay there.
So what we're gonna suggest.
Brian, you got some?
What we're gonna suggest, after conferring with Ryan earlier today, is that we ask for a deferment on site plan for 6 months. We come back within 6 months for a site plan that may or may not show any enlargement of existing development that's already there. So we wanna take the high road. We wanna come back. The site plan may be for little things like lighting and landscaping as opposed to how much impervious coverage we're asking for. And whether or not we have to go back for a new certificate of filing from Pinos. Because it looks like the areas they've already rejuvenated with new gravel was already gravel to begin with. That's gonna be strictly based on their testimony at this point in time because it's not covered up with new gravel. So we want to relook at that area as part of the site plan when we come back, assuming that's the direction the board wants to go in terms of some deferment of 6 months to coming back for site plan.
We wouldn't be so bold as to come in and say, can we put a Wawa in there for 6 months and we'll come back for a site plan for that? I mean, this site tends to lend itself to what they're doing. It's a fairly innocuous, non-active use, and we thought, because of the way it's set up, that would not be a request that could at least be thought about and considered.
Right. So there's going to be a second bite at the apple, in other words. What we're proposing for a site plan approval or site plan application within 6 months of this.
And no equipment is to be seen from the outside, that'll all be
Right,
still?
so we are,
Gate will be.
we are purposely parking the equipment in the back, behind the building, as opposed to out front where it's already paved, just to try and be a little less.
I'm not talking about the trucks, I'm talking about the safety equipment,
Equipment goes in the building.
That goes in the building, yeah.
everything.
Any registered vehicles would be parked outside, and equipment materials would be.
Right, behind the building, and any smaller materials that are not vehicular in nature will be stored inside the building.
Keep in mind, it's a garage, an old mechanics garage, so they have, there's three garage doors on it.
Overhead doors, right.
Most of the stuff probably stays on the truck all night anyway.
Yeah, so you'll have the cones,
Most
the
days on.
signs, and whatever else in the
The only
building.
thing you see from the outside is the
And you would
trucks.
have extra, I'm sure. So I just want to circle back on the process. I know this feels a little bit out of order. It's not unprecedented, but it's uncommon for a site that's already developed. Normally, we'll see a use variance before a site plan if there's an undeveloped site and it's a significant investment to, to design the site. If it's $30,000 or $40,000 to design a site, someone will come in for a use variance first to make sure, like, am I gonna be allowed to do this here? And then they'll come back with a site plan once they have the use variance in place. So the process isn't unprecedented, it's just unusual to see it in this circumstance where we already have a site. So that's why we're proceeding this way. It's not that it's out of order, it's just uncommon for, this type of situation where it's fully developed.
Well, right, but normally when someone comes in, or they're submitting an application, we give a site plan approval, and then we can make decisions on there. But it sounds like you've already got this tenant lined up and he's moving in tomorrow. I mean, it sounds like,
We're waiting for approval. I mean, the other option is if we don't get approval, it's,
Right.
we go back to, an approved use that's there currently. So be it a mechanics yard
Right.
again, or,
Mr. Frick, that's essentially true, what you said.
yeah.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
I live in a Carver, we all live in a Carver, we've seen that building, and you did a great job rehabbing it. It really is nice, it's nice when you're coming down the pike. My concern, okay, is that, I guess you just purchased this property in December of 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you bought it, you knew the use, it's a hybrid commercial use. So I'm assuming
There was two, if I wasn't mistaken. We saw two.
well, the zone is hybrid
Yeah.
commercial. I don't know what uses you've had, you've got the massage parlor over there, but now it says spa on the window, it doesn't say massage anymore, so it's a little bit nicer. But anyway,
Up class.
yeah, but I mean, when you purchased it, it was hybrid commercial zone. You knew that, I'm sure you did some research of what was permitted uses and not permitted. But yet today, seemed like we're being rushed. I mean, this meeting was supposed to be last week, we postponed it. You got the tenants out there. I was there this morning, you had bulldozers over there, stones and asphalt. I mean, you're gunning whole like, I swear these people are gonna move in tomorrow.
This is, it's definitely, this is tenant driven. I mean, the tenant.
Yeah,
it is, yeah.
Tenant came along and
Right.
they like to get, yes, they want to
Yes.
stage here and get
Sure,
going.
sure, and I understand that, but it is a highway commercial use. Again, we're coming down the Harris Pike into Egg Harbor City. I'm just looking at the visual, you know? So the first thing we're gonna see on the right is a massage parlor. We've got an adult bookstore on the left. Now we're gonna have this building, which shows beautiful, is gonna be commercial vehicles stored in there. It's gonna have storage in there. I mean, we go through a little bit left, we have the old Acme that's sitting there. It would be nice to use that building for what it was intended. One of the uses for highway commercial, it would be attractive when you come in. I know this here type of a use is permitted probably in the industrial zone, industrial park. I'm assuming that's where it belongs. I don't know if it's great to have it right there on the Lakers Pike as soon as we pull into town. I mean, I'm looking at it from the Galloway entrance. Again, we have another big facility. It's sitting on the left. Isn't that attractive? So I guess my questions are, it sounds like we're being forced to jump into this, do a site plan approval later on, so we can sign these tenants up. But if you don't get the approval tonight, I mean, the only hardship is you lost those tenants. Maybe the next tenants will use it for a permitted use, will be a little bit more attractive for the city. Those are just some of my thoughts.
Fair, I mean, fair comment. It's that, I mean, I know the site has been subject to several redevelopment proposals with other uses. That, for whatever reason, hasn't panned out.
Right.
So yes, it sits there as it did, and it's been improved. And there's a tenant that wants to go in and use it, make Egg Harbor City its business, you know. Riley's a huge international operation. It's not a bad company to have in town, a good company to have in town. That site just happens to lend itself to what they need.
I noticed that it has been up for rent. I mean, since you owned it, I mean, you could have advertised for looking for highway commercial use through the realtor or the sign, but it was never even looking.
Yeah, this tenant came along and it was,
Yeah, okay.
We had
That's
it
kinda
listed,
how it works.
and it's very hard to, yeah, it was difficult finding a tenant, truthfully.
Sure.
And again, it's a nationally named tenant that wants to take the
but
space.
ideally, yes, would it be a small strip center, a beautifully designed strip center? Sure.
Sure.
It could be. How many of the, I mean, right now, with the way commercial development's going offshore,
That's not working.
It's not happening.
No.
and fortunately, there's a tenant that wants to be here, wants to use that site, let's get it fixed up, and is it perfect? Not perfect.
Right.
But do we think we can justify the variance? That's up to you guys.
If I didn't place it in testimony earlier, it is a mutually beneficial lease that's coming in. It cleans up a property that is in desperate need of cleaning up with something that's not going to create a nuisance in terms of its use, but only beautify the corridor in and out of Egg Harbor City. So it's an opportunity that it's good for him, and it's good, I believe, for the city too.
I don't want to spend anybody's money, but one of the things you can do with site plan is impose some conditions, for instance, landscaping outside the fencing. Things of that nature.
Sure, and then normally that's done prior to the approvals, and it's prior to the tenant moving in.
No question about
So
it.
once they're in there, it's like we have no control.
You have complete control.
You have to-
Well,
In this case,
You will.
you up?
We're still subject to site plan, which will have impositions or conditions that you impose upon the applicant to do maybe some landscaping, maybe some lighting, some things that haven't been thought of to date. And especially after this tenant has been in here for a few months, I think
they haven't been in.
but once they're in, we'll be able to recognize what is really needed as opposed to what we project as needed.
I think you're saying, we'll wait and see, but it'd be a different story if the owner was owner occupied, he was applying for a variance, because we could talk to him. But this is the third party, this is a tenant. They're dropping off, we don't have a clue what's going, or you wouldn't, from when you're home. So it's up to the city to maintain the property, to make sure it's being handled properly. They're not parking things out front, doors aren't left there, you know, it's.
I'm not convinced of that. I think a conscientious owner wants to make sure his property looks the way he represented to you guys that it's supposed to. And take, that burden shouldn't be on Egg Harbor City. That burden should be on
No,
him.
but tenants don't maintain a property like a homeowner would. Yeah.
But he's still on the hook.
But he doesn't live next door in the house anymore, like probably the original owner when it was first approved.
Right, but again, it's, like I said, it's a national, company. It's not like it's a mechanic that was there before, where they're just throwing oil out in the middle of, letting the place overgrow. It's like,
We don't think you'll be disappointed with site operates, and especially imposing whatever conditions you do a site plan. You have tonight's representations, and whatever you impose in site plan, we're bound by. But thank you, your insight is correct.
Mr. Chairman,
Jack?
I don't have so much a problem with, the proposed use because it's not a stretch from what was previously there with automobiles parked and trucks and, a repair shop. I don't see that as being a problem with the use. I'm having a problem with not seeing a site plan because I have questions. Site lighting, trash enclosure, one of my favorite subjects, fencing, landscaping, you're here on a promise. And with all due respect, you'll honor your obligations, but once you do that, we have no teeth to enforce that. Okay? I don't know why this is raising the hair on the back of my neck, but given the variance without a site plan to review, I'm not feeling it, guys.
My concern is this, there's 6 members here tonight, and I'm getting sense from 2 that might not be a vote in the affirmative, and it's 5 votes that are necessary, okay? If we can't if tonight the application fails because it's 4-2, we can't ask for that variance again in 6 months.
Chris, you know that you are entitled to 7 voting members. I have already advised the board that in case, in the situation that you did not receive 5 affirmative votes, that the absent board member would be allowed to review the record, the video, as well as the tape recording.
I appreciate that.
And then provide a vote.
I appreciate that.
That doesn't guarantee you get the 5th vote, but it entitles you to the 7 votes, 7 members voting and participating that you're entitled to.
So, Mr. Brownson, explain the variance thing again.
The variance, you get 1 bite at an apple. This is a use variance or a D variance, which requires 5 affirmative votes. Ordinarily, it's a majority of the quorum. If there's 5 people here, you need 3. 7 people, you need 4. With this kind of variance, I need 5. If Mr. Frick and you decide I want to see a site plan before I allow this, I have 4 votes, and it fails. I can't bring that back. It's race judicata. I am not allowed to bring back the same application twice.
Ever?
Ever.
10 years?
This is like land
So,
use
but
law?
look, I'm not saying that's a strong arm, you guys.
No, I just want to understand, that's all.
No,
That's
the law.
And I'm not saying it's strong arm you guys, and I had no intention of even having to go into that explanation, because I sit here and count 6, I'm like, oh, shit. There could be a problem.
So,
That-
one of the
that's-
things that I did want to address that some of the board members have indicated concern with is with respect to having no teeth or requiring them to do things but losing control once they receive their variance. So one of the conditions that you could put or I could put in the resolution for you, is the specific condition that they return to this board within 6 months.
And you guys could say 4, you guys could say
To provide-
4 months.
All right,
To- or whatever, to provide for site plan approval, and have that testimony and work with the board's professionals to ensure that you get what you want.
I have a question on that. If they don't, what happens?
Shut us down.
They fail, so they haven't met the conditions of the resolution, so it gets shut down.
You can shut it down. I mean, like 6 months is.
How does that get shut down?
You have a lease.
Because-
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
but like,
No,
what's the process for the city to
so-
say, okay, you didn't come back? Like, are we just sending somebody to knock on the door? and-
Our land use administrator and code enforcement officer would serve them with notice that they have failed in their conditions on the use variance, and the use variance no longer exists.
certain amount of days to,
Yeah.
get out of the building.
Yes, that's not like residential landlord-tenant protections, you don't have it. Commercial property.
No, I understand.
All right, so let's get back to what we were doing. Ryan, do you have a report for us? Do you want to
Yeah.
go over your report
I can
before
go through
we
the report.
get into all this other stuff here?
Sure, so I'll start on our second page. I think everyone has a pretty good idea of what is there, what's being proposed. Again, what they're seeking is, use variance relief, and the site plan waiver we've already discussed, so they've eliminated that request. Use variance, again, would be for a use that's not permitted in the zone, and 2 uses on the single site. There've been 2 uses on the same site traditionally, but now that one of them is not an allowable use or not a permitted use, you know, I just wanted to be safe and cover that, because it's kind of an expansion of non-conforming use. So I think they covered, Mr. Schaefer covered the positive criteria, they discussed the negative criteria. That section of our letter just enumerates all of the possibilities for the positive criteria and then describes what the negative criteria is and means. In my general comments, we had notes about multi-uses on the site, parking and circulation. We didn't really have anything in the application. I think they've explained how parking and circulation would work. Obviously, I think the primary question for everyone, and I think what everyone thought coming in, was that the parking would be in that front lot next to the use, and it sounds like that's not proposed to be the case. So we got some clarification that the parking would actually be behind the building. Screening and buffering, we talked about the potential to add that during the site plan. It doesn't sound like there's any screening or buffering proposed at the moment, correct?
At the moment.
Okay. Operations, so we did talk briefly about hours of operation. If the board is considering approval, I would suggest that we put a limitation on hours of operation now, and that can be revisited during the site plan, if that's something that the board is open to. Lighting and security, we did talk about that. It sounds like they're gonna replace an existing site fence. And they feel they have sufficient lighting, but obviously, the site plan would revisit exactly what the appropriate lighting levels are, both on the site and what's required. Outdoor storage, we did talk about, as a condition of this, there'd be no outdoor storage of any materials permitted, only registered vehicles. Sounds like there'd be crash attenuating trucks and things of that nature, but no, outdoor storage of materials, which we've had a very strict limitation on, especially in the highway commercial zone. They did address the environmental cleanup on the site. I think there's still some issues to get sorted out with DP, but that shouldn't really impact the board going forward. And then we discussed applicability of the Pinelands. So the change of use exemption, you're changing from one non-residential use to another, as long as that's the only issue being discussed, there's no proposed site revisions, which there are not at the moment, then you're qualified under that exemption. So I think they'll probably have to revisit that. If we're gonna propose things on the site plan, they'll probably need a certificate of filing, but they could address that, in advance of the meeting and submit. So we may want to impose, if we're considering a time frame, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is that we're considering, we may want to require that they submit a certificate of filing in advance of that, because that's gonna take some time to get back before they can appear at the board. So if they don't submit a certificate of filing until the 6-month mark, we're not gonna see them in 6 months. It's just gonna be impossible. Because the board doesn't have jurisdiction, if this project requires a certificate of filing, until it's issued. So we can't even hear them until they have a certificate of filing, if that's what's required. So I would suggest that we.
Well, shouldn't they need that right now before they come before us right now?
So right now, there are no changes proposed to the site. So it's a conversion of one non-residential use to another non-residential use. That is specifically listed as an exemption in the Pinelands CMP. So if you're just switching from one non-residential use to another, whether it requires a use variance or not, you do not need a certificate of filing, because there's no change to the site and it's not a residential use.
So if the Pineland gives them a problem, this all gets pushed back again.
Well, that's why I
Meanwhile,
suggested,
they're running their business.
that's why I suggested we should set a deadline for the submission to the commission to get a certificate of filing, so that, if Pinelands is gonna hold things up for a month or two, that's not starting at the 6-month mark, right?
What do you think a reasonable time here, within 20 days, within 10 days?
Well, no, because to submit the certificate of filing, you guys are gonna have to do the survey and do the design and so, I mean, if we're wanting them back in 6 months, I mean, 3 maybe?
Yeah, I have a vacation coming
So 4?
Yeah.
So I mean, they essentially need to submit, if they're going to come to the board with a site plan that proposes changes, new asphalt, landscaping, things like that, that requires the issuance of a certificate of filing by the commission. So that's, I just wanted to keep that in mind where, if we want to see them back in 6 months, we're gonna want them to submit for the certificate of
We
filing.
can submit that within 90 days.
Within 30 months.
Within 90 days, yeah.
Okay, so that would give some time, Pine review is 30 days, 45 is more like it at the moment, if you're lucky. So if they submitted and had the issue, they should be able to turn around and still be able to get here in 6 months and not, us be waiting for that certificate of filing process to play out.
Is there anything we can put on this with this 6-month guesstimate that if they don't show up, all bets are off, that this just doesn't start,
Yeah, he said he would.
you know?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
if they don't have what they need in 6 months, they get out, everything goes back to what it was.
Yes,
And the variance is lifted?
the variance is lifted.
Okay, Ryan,
I have, sorry, go ahead.
so once we grant a variance on this property, that's forever until somebody, wants to
well.
have
so
another variance?
The variance is subject to conditions, so if the variance had a specific condition that had a time frame on it, and they don't meet that condition, then the variance is no longer valid.
The variance is specific to this very specific use.
Yes, right.
It's not, it doesn't open it up for a bunch of other storage type uses. It's just exactly what we said tonight.
Right, so you can switch to a different company or an incredibly similar use, but again, if they don't come back with a site plan, that wouldn't carry with the land like it would normally. If you approve a use variance with no conditions, for anyone to come back, then yeah, that carries with the land, and it could be that for the next 100 years, but.
Yeah, we can void it. In the resolution, David can void it.
That's what I'm saying, if there's specific conditions imposed, like in this situation, it would not continue on. It would cease to exist because they did not meet the conditions of the variance.
Okay, another question then, or food for thought. I understand that, they have a tenant and they want to move in, and when we get applications like this, when everybody's in a hurry, it doesn't sit well with the board, as you can tell. So is there a possibility, and I don't know, this is, a legal question, could the city not issue them a temporary zoning permit without a variance, to allow them to get their tenant in there and get moving before we grant any variances, give them a conditional permit for 6 months? I don't know if this is possible or not. And then at that time, when the permit is timed out, they would have had to been before the board with a site plan and a variance, a request for a variance.
So I don't believe that the zoning officer, which coincidentally is also me, has the authority to unilaterally approve an application that would require a use variance.
Is that an administrative function
What's that?
to do that? Administratively?
Well, right, so I don't have the unilateral authority to approve a use that's not expressly permitted in the zone, as the zoning officer, right? So
That's why we're here.
Right, exactly, so I don't.
Okay, board could offer that relief?
Well, right, so essentially the board would be providing that temporary relief to say, if you don't come back with a site plan that we can all agree to conditions on. Because I think that's another part that we haven't touched on yet, is that if they come back to the board for a site plan, and there are conditions that you want to impose that they will not agree to, then they've still not met the condition. So that would still void the use variance. So if we come back and we're, and it's been a mess over there, and we're gonna impose all these conditions, and they say no, we say, okay, we'll get out. So you do have authority.
Variance goes away.
Correct.
But you still have a signed lease with those tenants, and that's gonna be.
That's our problem.
That's not our problem.
That's not a problem, yeah.
Let me ask a question, Ryan. Do you think like a use variance granted on a conditional basis? So when we come back with the site plan, we also have to vote on the use variance as final relief? Just to,
No, that gets very messy.
all right.
I would
Trying to think
prefer,
out of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
and this is my, not my first rodeo, but my first rodeo with this board, and protecting them, I would suggest that you vote on the use variance, that you put the conditions that we've described within here, because it will protect you. They will have to come back. It is being granted on very specific conditions that they come back within a certain period of time. For them to come back within a certain period of time, they had to have satisfied other conditions with other agencies. So they have a heavy lift here, and your site plan approval, by the way, that is lurking out there isn't a rubber stamp. As you've heard Ryan say, that when they come back for site plan approval and you've had a chance to evaluate the operation, in a lot of ways, this works out for the board and the city, because you can, see what you want at that site and impose that as conditions. The other part that I would urge the board to consider is the fact that, with respect, it didn't come in as clean as probably you would normally get, but there has been some good faith here in that they cleaned up an environmentally toxic site that was within the city. So that's already been done. They are satisfying issues with DEP, and I noted that in my notes, that in the positive criteria, that goes a long way, cleaning up a dirty site.
So one other thing I'll say, just having a little lengthier history with the board, I think a point of frequent frustration for the board has been, we look at a site plan, we grant an approval, and then a tenant tends to go and do whatever they want, and we have to rely on code enforcement to take care of everything, and that's a difficult job. This circumstance, while a little unique and unorthodox, and not necessarily desirable, actually presents you a second chance to meet with these same people and talk about exactly how they're operating the site, and sort of circle back and say, like, look, what you've been doing is not working. We want to see this change. We want you to do this. We want you to screen that side. We want you to, whatever. So while it's, again, a little unorthodox and maybe not something we're going to do for every application, it does give you a second chance to meet with these same people and impose conditions on the site sort of after it's up and running, instead of having to lean on code enforcement and deal with that frustration. So, something to think about.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
is 6 months enough time?
I mean, if they could submit the certificate of filing in 90 days, I think 6 months should be enough time. Because that process, even if you submit and Pinelands has an issue with it, they can issue a certificate of filing that's incomplete, meaning it's not consistent with their rules. So as long as you submit like a technically complete application, even if it doesn't meet their rules, they still have to give you a certificate of filing. And even if it's incomplete, we can still hear it.
Okay.
So if they can get a certificate of filing in within 90 days, we should be able to get back to this board within 6 months.
And the other thing that's optimistic about that is that the site changes that I'm hearing that may be proposed are more cosmetic in nature to, go along with the highway commercial district. It's not, other than maybe paving, if there's some paving done. That's a disturbance that Pinelands is always interested in, of course. But most of these things, I'm cautiously optimistic that they will qualify for a change of use exemption.
Questions? You good? Good?
Remember, I gotta come back here and face you guys. It's gotta work.
Your
Uh,
reputation precedes
I
you.
gotta come back and face you.
All right, so I guess we're gonna need a motion. And let's, Mr. Tyner, you're gonna come up with the motion, you're gonna word the motion. I would suggest from me that you strongly put a deadline on this. And make sure that you guys are okay with the deadline, because once this happens, once this happens, the deadline is the deadline.
So prior to doing that, though, we have to open it up to the
Yeah.
public for comment.
Yep.
But I will start working on that.
Yep. Anybody here from the public would like to voice their opinion? Sir, come up and get sworn in.
Sir.
James McCallion.
Okay, how do you spell your last name, sir?
McCallion.
Okay, Ms. McCallum, Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
Couple questions I have. Obviously, I own all the ground around this site. 8 acres I bought from the Schiff property, Schiff Brothers, and then I own the Acme across the street, which we're going through the process now of doing everything that I guess they should have done, right, to get the approvals and whatnot. So I have a question. My biggest, I just found out about this 5 days ago, because I got a certified letter, 2 certified letters, one for 111 New York Avenue and one for 3034. So that's the address I have, is 3034 Whitehorse Pike. So, you know, we were wanting to do something big and grand, and I've been talking to Lisa about it and whatnot, so I don't know what this does to our site, you know? I'm in the construction industry, I was in the highway construction. Another thing is, most of that work's done at night, okay? So, I don't know, I mean, I don't know where they pave roads during the day. I mean, most of it's done at night. So, I don't know what it's gonna do or affect us and my site, but listen, they owned it before I owned the big site. I was kind of concerned when I started hearing about the contamination on the site and where it is, and if they have a clean letter from the state, I know for their action suit, and how far did it leach, like it might have leached onto my property. So we don't know that, so I want to know, I want to see that, I should have the right for that. And I guess, I know it's a gateway coming in, and I don't know if it's the right use or not. Listen, I mean, there's plenty of other places you can put that, but, okay, so if this is allowed, and you guys vote this in, so what does that do to my property? Are we like able to bring a big contractor in, like Earl Construction or something like that for, with their paving equipment and all? Because I've had plenty of calls for that. And I was told that it's not permitted. So now if it is permitted, that's the route we're gonna need to go. You understand? So that's all I have to say.
When did you purchase your property, sir?
I purchased it about a year ago,
And the Acme site?
about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
And
But
what,
we have a tenant lined up. He's doing what Ryan knows. He's been doing what he has to do. We've had plenty of meetings. We sat before. I don't know about you guys, but we've had many, you know.
Yeah,
They're going through their Pineland stuff. I mean, we're going through the Pineland stuff now, even though,
They're amending the redevelopment plan that applies to the Acme property for cannabis cultivation. So that's not a permitted use in the zone either. They decided to go the route of amending the redevelopment plan, which requires action by the city, referral to the land use board, back to the city, and then they can come on to the board with a site. So that's the
Right,
process.
Candace?
and you have, right now, you have someone in that site right now working, or
no,
are they
they're not-
working on the building?
No, they're handling it. It's out of my hands. Like, it would be like if Riley was here tonight, which I thought should have been here and would have been here, because he would tell you how he runs his business. So, Ryan knows, the mayor knows. I guess, I'm sorry, you're the solicitor, right?
I am.
Do you know,
I'm just a land use board
Okay,
solicitor,
so-
I'm not
so
the municipal solicitor.
Yeah, only because I have the dual role of the city. That's-
Yeah, so Ryan knows, he's going, I'm the owner of the property, but they're dealing with the city to get,
Right, the tenant is taking care of that
the
process.
tenant's taking care of the process. But all I'm saying is, and they're gonna beautify that, the Acme site, we had a meeting last week about that, they want shrub, they want this, they want that, and that's fine, and my tenant said he would do all that.
In the meantime, that place is a mess.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is, it's out of my hands now, he bought it from me, he's buying it from me.
He's buying the
He's
property
buying the
from you?
property.
You currently own it right
I
now?
currently do.
Because it is a mess.
I know, we've had that conversation. He's gonna start, hopefully, whatever.
Do you also own the house next to it?
No. Nope. No, I don't. I don't own the house next door.
Does he own the
It's-
Acme?
It's
Yeah.
been,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it is a mess.
Yeah, so we've had.
You might consider buying a dumpster.
It's about well, I'm gonna tell you this, this too, we just got notice that somebody dumped something behind the building, and the zoning official told me, don't worry about it, because he's been arrested, whatnot, so I can't control
I went
that.
by there about a month ago, and the trash bags and the trash is flowing out into the street in the back.
Mhm. It happened across the street too,
It's awful.
they dumped tractor trailer loads of tires at night,
It's awful.
I know. I mean, it all has to be cleaned up, I understand, so,
You're the owner, sir.
yeah, and I have a tenant there, and he's signed.
Take control.
I'm not here for that, you wanna have that meeting on another
I'm
time?
not,
here.
I wasn't here for that either, but
I know,
when you
but
come up to the podium and you start asking the board questions about,
I want the
What-
I want the report, all I want is the report.
you're certainly entitled to whatever you're
I'm talking about my
entitled to.
site across the street, I'm not
Understand.
worried about the Acme site, I'm not worried about that.
You're talking about the adjacent site to
Yeah,
this,
that's
to
what I
the
want,
applicant's
yeah, that's what
property.
I'm concerned
Mr.
about,
Kelly, you want this report that we talked about?
yes.
So what you do is you pick up the phone and call the owner. That's how that works.
I didn't know there was contamination issues
I'm
there.
just telling you, we're more than welcome
All right,
to provide it.
that's
Pick up the
fine.
phone and call.
That's fine. That's fine.
There's a more serious environmental in that area than the slop oil across the street. You have a gas station that was located on White Horse Pike.
In the front, we got that report. And I got the report from the Schiff brothers on the 8-acre site also.
Them parking 8 vehicles behind a building that the building's gonna shield, I don't honestly see how it's gonna deteriorate.
That's fine, I just don't know what it's gonna do to that zoning, what we should do. I mean, if that's allowed, if this is allowed, that use, I
Well,
don't
we
care.
take each thing on case by case. You
Right.
can, you're welcome to come in
Yeah.
and make application or variance for anything that you want, and we, you know, we consider that. There's no hard, fast rule. I mean, the zoning can be changed by variance, the site plan can be approved with conditions and all that, so, you know, we entertain any and all options. We're trying to get buildings occupied and
I
activity.
understand,
And do it the right way.
yeah. And I understand your thing about my property, we had a meeting about that. What you just said, we had a conference call about, what you just said, we had a conference call last week and we're taking care of that. So, I mean, it's not being ignored. I know Steve will call me if the grass gets too high, whatnot, so.
Steve's not here anymore.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Did he?
Couple weeks.
Yeah, he has his, believe me, he calls me.
Well, this property's been a mess for a long time.
Well, it's gonna get cleaned up.
Been a mess since- It's been a mess since the Acme closed.
It's gonna get
Yeah.
cleaned up.
It's been going downhill, I've been here my whole life. And every time I go by there, I look at it.
Yeah,
So-
all right, yeah, no, I got you. I just want, like I said, I got this notice, 2 notices for both of my addresses, so I just, more concerned about across the street, because that one, we want to do something, you know, it's a big site, we want to do something, maybe some kind of house, I don't know, we don't know yet. Trying to figure it out, you know?
I don't know, we've had a lot of people come in and a lot of people go back and forth, and then it goes to the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy.
Well-
And the Acme always looks the same,
Mhm.
so. And I know you said, I didn't come up here for this, but when you do come up here for
But we
this,
had-
and you open yourself
In all
up, then you open yourself up to,
But in all fairness, what you're talking about was already discussed and taken care of last.
I have
Lisa,
no
were you
idea.
Were you at the meeting for that?
This is Donna.
When that came up?
Sorry.
Were you at the, I'm sorry, who?
Donna, she's a code inspector,
Sure, we're still talking about the application.
secretary for the.
excuse me?
We're still talking about the application. That's before
Not
you-
yet, we're not there yet, we're still talking to him.
I keep giving you public mayor. So, last week, we had a conference call about the Acme site. And they told me that somebody had dumped trash behind the building, just like across the street, and they called them and they were arrested and they were on the hook to clean it up. Am I right? Is that?
Yeah, I know
Okay.
that there was.
All right, so yeah, I already been aware of that.
Very good.
I'm sorry, I live up north, I haven't, and, all right.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Is there any other member of the public?
Kim Hesse, 236 New Orleans Avenue. I just wanted to say.
I'm sorry, how's the
Kim
last name?
Hesse, H-E-S-S-E.
Hessc, okay.
Yes.
And the address again? New Orleans?
236 New Orleans Avenue.
Okay, and would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to the committee up here. And I also wanted to say, Mr. Frick, I agree with you. You know, we're trying to clean up Hanover City, and especially the White Horse Pike and Philadelphia Avenue. And if we could get something, you know, different in there and move those type of businesses to the industrial park, that would be great. However, I do, if we can, to me, I feel taking every step to make sure that the property is in good condition, that it is landscaped, that it is, the trash is removed, that we do everything that you're supposed to do when you come in here, and you say that you're going to do it. I think it's, because too many times, it doesn't happen. You say one thing and something else happens. So I really, really hope that you can do the right thing, because we do have new code enforcement. So we will be moving forward with our ordinances now. So I just want to say thank you very much. And the other thing is, I didn't hear anything mentioned other than Mr. Peterson about the trash containers on the property, and I guess that's going to be moving.
It'd be behind the, behind the fence. So not gonna be on the street, it's not gonna be directly on the street, it's behind the fence.
Could you point it out on
It's
the,
closed.
could you point it out?
Yeah.
Is this a temporary spot
So there's
until?
there's currently nothing on site, but there will be behind here, so it'll be behind fencing. So it will be.
Enclosure?
Yeah, there'll be an enclosure. So back here, it's not gonna be on
That'll
the
be
street, it's not
subject
gonna
to
be
site.
That would be something that would be done in the plan
Yeah.
for
It's
something
it's not
permanent.
currently there, there's no.
So
there's
the
no-
site plan will take care of that, because I know there's a particular way the trash enclosures work in Hanover City, so
They
we'll take
should
care
work.
of
They
that.
do-
No,
they don't, and they
they will.
haven't been,
We will have
unfortunately.
it, we will have the,
Mhm.
the specified,
Well, they've been cut.
yeah, they're covered.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, and apologies, Councilman.
Anyone else would like to be heard? All right, we're gonna close the public comment on this, and, we gotta come up with a motion.
Okay. So the, based on the testimony provided on the application for the subject site, which is 6 White Horse Pike, block known as Block 526, Lot 11.01, located in the Highway Commercial Zone. The applicant being LUB DMB White Pike LLC. The motion would be to approve a D1 use variance as well as a D2 variance for the expansion of a pre-existing non-conforming use based upon the following conditions: that the applicant must return to this board within 6 months seeking site plan approval, or else their use variance shall be voided. If they don't return, and if they return and site plan is not approved, the use variance, if granted, use variances, if granted, shall be voided. Also, it's based on the condition that the hours of operation for the business that is situated on the property will be from 8 AM to 6 PM, if that's reasonable.
That's his testimony.
I would,
I'd be
a
careful on
traffic control
that.
company isn't gonna work at 8 AM.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
say, if you give them 6 AM to 6
6
PM.
AM to.
6 AM to
6
6 PM,
6 to 8,
6 to 8,
All night long.
6 AM to 8 PM.
please.
But with the heat trucks, they're not doing the expressway with that. That's coming out of a different yard. They're gonna do small
They're doing Deer
road
Street,
crossings, yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay. Hours of operation, 6 AM until 8 PM. that only registered vehicles will be parked in the rear of the building, that all industrial tools and accessories shall be stored in the garage, and that employee vehicles will replace the 8 company trucks that are parked there overnight. Brian, any other conditions?
I think so at the moment.
Okay, but the key conditions here are that the applicant reappears before and obtains site plan approval within 6 months, where the use variance is voided.
And you guys are okay with 6 months, right? Not 7, 6, you're okay with it?
Certificate
Yes.
filed in 90 days.
Giving you an opportunity here.
6 is it. I'm not gonna,
Certificate filed in 90
Pestering you
days
along.
if it's required.
Okay. And the applicant is put on notice that they should file their application for certificate of filing with Pinelands Commission as soon as time permits.
yes, within 90 days for sure.
That is the motion that, if approved, is there a motion on the floor?
Is there a motion? Make a motion. Second?
Mulligan? And Peterson?
No, we
No,
can't make.
Mike
No,
Buchanan.
I'm sorry, I thought my ears must be going. Discussion?
Any questions? Want to go ahead and have a roll call?
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
No.
Mr. Molyneux?
Yes.
Mr. Frick?
No.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
We're at 4-2? Okay, so, the board member, would that be Mr. Garth? Okay, as advised, the applicant is entitled to 7 voting members. We only had 6 this evening. I would urge that Mr. Garth hear the application as soon as possible and then issue their vote. So there is not a vote as of this evening. The record is still open.
Thank you.
And
We're gonna go for anyone else changes his mind. You good with that, Dan?
I'm good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So record's still open until Mr. Garth hears the application and issues a vote.
Diane, let us know.
Very good.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I guess I just- Yes,
Like my pencils. Because you write discussion pocket, you write to go, I still use the pencil part. I buy the replacement rubber things to put on the end.
We're not done with that.
Okay.
We got it. Yeah, you don't, yeah, we'll have to watch the tape.
And it wouldn't be him? Couldn't be Glenn?
Excellent, thank you.
Well, she was, that's, yeah, that's to him, you need 7. So you wouldn't necessarily, well, you'd have to ask Dave.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, we're getting close, you know that.
Yeah,
Outside.
And just everything else that is on the law right now.
Not good?
Oh, Jackie. You have to do financials.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did tonight.
Okay, I'll let Jackie know. She gave me a list.
I know. I got an email from her today.
I didn't want to.
You have to be a drink.
You're not on the
All
list.
over here.
Right.
All right. What do we got?
All right, moving on with the meeting. We have old business. Any old business? Council report? Public comments. Would anybody in the public like to speak? Nobody? Questions and comments from the board?
So how does Mr. Garth hear about this? Through,
How will he hear about it?
yeah, because he asked.
I'm gonna ask Donna to contact him. However, the record is open for now. The applicant also has the right, and this might satisfy the board even more, to amend the application and come back with a complete application, site plan and variance application all together, so that you get the full picture.
Why? Because we're missing a member?
Yeah.
Well, if it gets voted down, he can't come back for the,
Right, but
Right now, it's
shouldn't it
not
be
technically-
separate anyway? The variance should be separate from,
If they would have come in with the application that Mr. Peterson envisioned,
right,
it would have been an application for site plan approval, D1 and D2 variance. You would have heard you'd have still been sitting as a zoning board with planning board jurisdiction over the site plan. You would have heard that all in conjunction with one another, and it would have been a cleaner package. You would have saw the site plans, the site conditions that they were talking about that they would like to improve. You know, the board heard the application with respect, and as Ryan had pointed out, normally this is not uncommon for an undeveloped site. You come in for a use variance, and like you said before, dumping a lot of money into a site plan approval. You see, can we do it? You know, the cannabis use on vacant property that is in highway commercial. Someone wants to do that. They have a vision that they can make that right. They come in, they go for the use variance. Once you granted that use variance, they then come back for a preliminary and final site plan approval. That's a typical process. In this situation, you had a use that's been there, multiple uses, a multi-use site that's been there forever. And, you know, someone came in and said, well, we want to change that use or expand it slightly, but with the same framework in place. But, you know, we don't really need to change anything. We can just go in and the comment that, you know, I heard earlier, I think it was Mr. McKinney, said, you know, they're kind of doing the same thing that has always been done there. Vehicles are being parked there. There was a used car lot. Vehicles were parked there. Now, albeit these are different types of vehicles. Well, someone said, well, mechanics there. They're actually lessening the intensity of the use because you won't have someone working on cars or working on other things that are there. They're literally just coming in, they're storing industrial tools and things of that nature in a site, and they're coming in, and they improved it. It's gonna be less intense. They have they cleaned up the oil contamination and things of that nature. So it was a step in the right direction, but, you know, as Mr. Peterson said, look, you know, you gotta, at some point, I wanna see, you know, because I'm used to seeing it, I wanna see how this place is gonna look. Because you've had enough trouble with people that come in and say they're gonna do something and they don't do it. So now this is a situation where you're getting someone that's gonna come, that's gonna say, hey, I'm not only gonna promise you that I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna have to come back to the board to show you what I'm gonna do. So it was a leap of faith that they were asking you to do. I think by all accounts, that if they showed you in a full package, you might come away with a different perspective.
Too many questions that they couldn't answer. As far as.
And look, I've been on that side before, so I'm still on that side in different municipalities throughout the state. So I understand when you don't carry the day by satisfying what the board wants for their community. But that's why you're here, you're the gatekeepers.
And Mrs. Torres, that's usually down there, does she hear?
Or, so, is Garth an alternate, or?
He's your representative for the fire chief.
Yeah, for the fire department.
Oh, okay, so yeah, it would be, or Ms. Torres, yeah. Ms. Torres is a regular board member.
Or both, is what I'm asking.
You'd have to look at the list of regular members. So there
So-
should be 9 regular members of the land use board, 2 of them are city members, so they're ineligible. So it'd be the 7 that are.
It's, yeah, it's a
John's a
vote,
regular
it's a
member.
seven,
It's just
yes. When you're sitting as a zoning board, there are 7 members.
So would both of
It
the
would be
members
Torres.
that are not here,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It would be Torres would be up to that.
He's an alternate here for tonight, yeah.
But, yeah, he already participated,
Yeah.
so.
So contact Gladys.
Yes.
To listen.
Check the list.
Yeah, if Gary's an alternate, wouldn't they both be regular members?
So I think you're just supposed to work your way down the list and whoever's next, from my understanding.
Yeah. So, yeah, it would be Ms. Torres.
I don't,
Okay.
and not John?
We'll check the list.
Or, yeah, either or, I mean, who's, you
Or
know,
both.
If Garth is is first up alphabetically.
That's something, we'll
Yeah.
just check how they're
We
listed
only
on
need
the list.
one additional vote, right?
Yes,
So-
one
So
additional.
you don't need 2
can't have
people.
2 because Gary's.
Yeah.
Right,
Now,
you have
Mr.
to have an
Hayes
alternate
was-
participate.
He's already sat and heard the
So
application.
he's already
so-
approved it.
But be on the lookout for that before Mr. Garth or Ms. Torres.
They had the opportunity to just say, you know what, I don't like the chance of tonight and just walk away and come back.
That's hard. It's
Could
hard.
have, but it seems like my problem, is this whole thing is rushed. I mean, last week, we were supposed to have a meeting, they pushed it this week. Literally, they were paving that this morning. I think that tenant's ready to move in tonight. I mean, I don't know, it just
Probably
seems
have a
it's
job
been
close by when they
Right.
need it.
forced.
Yeah, I mean, so the site work, anything that's there, they're allowed to restore without.
Right.
coming forward
Right.
For a permit.
Right.
So I mean, if they were gonna move a permitted use, a retail shop, a car mechanic, frankly, if they were gonna move them in, they could do all of the same things and they could move in tomorrow, or as soon as they got
Right.
zoning permit approval. So, improvements to the site is not necessarily indicative of, them anticipating this. Obviously, that's what's motivating them, but, but that's not something out of, normal course of business that they're allowed to.
Right, we're just looking for a change of the use.
Sure.
But this isn't even for the homeowner, this is for a tenant. So if we don't approve it, there's gonna be another tenant there. I mean, I'm assuming.
Well, not for this type of use.
We've been saying that about the Acme site for the last
Yeah.
10 years.
Yep, yep.
So it's the same.
And that's exactly the way I felt. That actually been sitting there ever since I can remember. And so many people have promised everything to the city and done nothing.
Yeah.
This guy, at least in show of good faith, paved the parking lot, redid the building, put the DGA down in the backyard, so he's got a good tenant, and he looks like he's gonna comply with everything that we're asking. That's the way I felt.
Yep.
I felt nobody would have put that kind of money out, and they're not gonna comply, especially when they got basically a good tenant.
How did they get both of those existing, the mechanic shop and then the?
Probably predates the zoning. It was probably
The
that someone.
Mr. Garnick lived in the house and he had a garage out front.
Well, then how did the massage place just open up? Anybody know? I know one night you drove by and there was a light in the window and said.
Flashing light.
Open or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I can't speak to, but I mean, presumably at some point they applied to, at some point they applied for a mercantile license. It may have predated the highway commercial zone. I don't know on the timing, so hard to say. But I wanted to circle back to your question that you asked to Mr. Tyner. I think just from a point of order, the way that we vote on these, when it is a use variance and site plan, we vote on the use first. Because if the
Yeah.
use fails, the site plan is.
Site plan's worthless, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in the voting order, when we hear an application that they do come in with a site plan, but they require a use variance, we form the full vote, we vote on the use variance first, and then we move to the site.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments from the board? We're good? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. Second. So made. Aye.
Remind you, please do your.
Yeah, my- So, and
I've already, it was funny, I've already done it.